Welcome to a special post-Halloween edition of Coast to Coast Sports. I'm your host for this week, George Michael, and I just couldn't let my costume go to waste. In case you haven't heard, the Boston Red Sox were just crowned World Series champions. I'm joined by MLB analyst, am I reading this right? Green Man? To talk a little off-season baseball. How are you, Green Man?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Excellent. Let's get into it.
Okay, perfect.
So what do this year's contenders, the Red Sox and the Dodgers, need to do this winter to get back into the World Series next season?
Well, both teams have notable free agents. The Dodgers with Clayton Kershaw on the market, although they are very close to working out a deal, so it's most likely that he'll be back. But they also have Ryu on the market. Manny Machado is unlikely to come back. As for the Red Sox, they have guys like Uvalde and Kimbrel. So for the Red Sox, they got to take care of Kimbrel, get their closer back because their bullpen struggled enough. Kimbrel wasn't great in the playoffs, but he is still one of the top closers in the league. So as long as they get their guys back, they should be in good shape. For the Dodgers, getting Corey Seager back is a huge enough addition as it is. And so as long as they get their guy Kershaw back and maybe add another starter and another bullpen reliever, I think they should be good for next year.
Now, speaking of free agents, this class has had some impact players that could turn a team from good to great. Who are your top free agents this offseason?
Well, the two most talked about are going to be Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. Now, I've read a couple articles saying that Manny Machado actually hurt his stock this postseason with some of the antics he pulled, which will maybe help elevate Bryce Harper's status as the top free agent to get. It'll be very interesting to see where he goes because there's not really a general consensus as to who's a favorite right now. There are a bunch of theories. As for Machado, he's been tied to maybe going to the Yankees or something like that. So those are the top two guys, but certainly a deep class. Obviously, you'd like to add Kershaw to the mix, but it's likely he's just going back to the Dodgers anyway.
All right, and along with those free agents, there's a few prospects that will probably get a look next year. What top prospects do you expect to get MLB action?
Well, with the Josh Donaldson trade, a lot of people got excited that maybe Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would be called up at the end of last season. He did not. So maybe next season, hopefully he'll start the season on the MLB roster because he led the minors in, I believe, batting average and OPS. He was terrific from the plate, and I think that he would really fill in the major leagues and kind of pick up where he left off in the minors. A couple other notable guys, Eloy Jimenez, his bat is ready. Fielding, he still needs a little bit of work, but I think for the Chicago White Sox, if his bat is in the lineup next year, it'll be really exciting to see. Peter Alonso from the Mets is another guy who really kind of broke out into the scene last season with a big home run in the Futures game. He had a stout regular season. And I know you have pitcher Justice Sheffield. I don't think he'll start the season on the Yankees, but look for him to get called up at some point.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Green Man. While the MLB is wrapping up, the NFL is making its way towards the midseason. NFL analyst Freddie Mercury is here to tell you who he thinks is taking home this year's hardware.
Thanks, George. The NFL season is halfway over, and some teams, like the Los Angeles Rams and Kansas City Chiefs, have gotten off to scorching hot starts. On the other hand, teams like the Oakland Raiders and the New York Giants have had horrible seasons. But with Week 9 this weekend, here are my midseason NFL awards. Look, the most valuable player is Todd Gurley. Patrick Mahomes is a close second, but Gurley's on pace to break LaDainian Tomlinson's running back touchdown record of 31 and already has over 1,100 yards from scrimmage. There's also a tight race at the top for the Defensive Player of the Year, and while J.J. Watt has 8 sacks and 4 forced fumbles, Aaron Donald leads the league with 10 sacks, even though he shares a line with Ndamukong Suh. Now, if you have to face either of them, though, they will rock you. Additionally, my Offensive Rookie of the Year is Saquon Barkley, and my Defensive Rookie of the Year is Denzel Ward. Lastly, the Comeback Player of the Year is Andrew Luck, but if another one bites the dust and he goes down with an injury again, I'd have to say it's Adrian Peterson. Back to you, Mr. Michael.
Thanks, Freddie. Moving from professional to college, the NCAA football is heating up. I'm joined by Sam Darnold and the Cat in the Hat, who are ready to talk all things college football. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you,
George
Michael?
Doing fantastic.
Can't really rhyme right now.
First off, the
costume.
number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide take on number 4 LSU tomorrow. Guys, what are you looking for in this game as college football fans?
I'm looking at the quarterback battle here. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup between Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrows. If you look at statistically speaking, Tua is just dominating, not just LSU, but the whole entire NCAA. He's got over 2,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, which is unheard of. Whereas Joe Burrow only has about 1,500 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. I think both defenses are equally as good. I think it's going to have, if LSU has a chance in this game, they need Joe Burrow to play as good as he possibly can.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jacob. They're both pretty good, but it's really going to be a test to see how well LSU's defense can contain Tua. I mean, obviously Tua's not throwing a pick this year. Had an amazing season, but LSU's defense is very strong. Done great against some of the best teams in the country. Beat Mississippi State, beat Georgia when Miami was ranked, Auburn. Just they've had a successful season so far. I think they're coming hot, and I think this game is going to be a lot closer than Vegas thinks, with the line being 14.5. So I'm expecting LSU to actually make this close and have a good shot at winning this game.
This might be the first week Tua throws a pick. I mean, LSU has a cornerback named Greedy Williams, who is going to be a top prospect in the draft. He could be locking down Jerry Jeudy, who is Tua's favorite receiver. This could be the week that you see Tua throw a pick. Maybe.
Excellent, guys. Next off, college football has had some outstanding individual performances this season, but the question on everyone's mind is, who's the lucky Heisman winner this year?
Well, I think there's really only one answer, and that's Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he has put up video game numbers, and I just can't, I don't see anyone else beating him unless he throws 1 million interceptions in the next couple weeks to end the season. But, you know, as I said, over 2,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. You just got to give it to him. He's going to be booking his ticket to New York maybe after tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, I mean, Tua is right now probably the best player in college football. Has been pretty much perfect. Like, you really can't say nothing else. And in fact, he's been so good that he doesn't even need to play the fourth quarter. I kind of agree with you say, Jacob. We talked during the show. I was trying to think of other people to compete with Tua, but right now it's not really close. It is Tua, and he's been phenomenal.
Well, I mean, you could also say Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin running back. He's got over 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. You could also say Will Grier, and he's been kind of struggling of late. He's got almost 2,300 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You can make the argument that he's been a little more productive when it comes to passing yards, but he's also in a more passing-happy offense, whereas Alabama has a more balanced attack to the game. But I'm going to say Tua, and I think we both agree with that.
Right. And lastly, aside from the obvious, Bama, LSU, what are your guys' games to watch this week?
I'm going to go Kentucky, Georgia. Both teams right now 7-1. Kentucky, obviously, I don't think anyone expects them to be this good this season.
They're finally a football school.
Yeah, I know. And basketball season's coming up, so this is a great time of the year for them. They've obviously been amazing. They've had a great year. Georgia's been pretty good so far. Just had that little hiccup a few weeks ago against LSU. So both teams, if they really want to have a chance to make the playoffs, have to win. This is a must-win game for them, for both of them. So I'm curious to kind of see, is Kentucky's Cinderella season's over, or is that just a little hiccup for Georgia? We'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited for that game.
That's going to be a great game. I'm going to go West Virginia, speaking of Will Grier, against Texas. Texas, everyone said they were back after beating Oklahoma a couple weeks ago in the Red River rivalry game, whatever it's called. But they kind of had a hiccup last week against Oklahoma State. They lost at Oklahoma State. But this is, again, going to be another battle of the quarterbacks, Sam Ehlinger of Texas and Will Grier of West Virginia. I think it's a toss-up because both quarterbacks have been very up and very down, depending on the week. Sam Ehlinger, I know, was injured for a little bit. But this is going to be a really good game. I'm very excited to see both of these offensive play. And if I had to guess, I think Texas could come out with the victory here against West Virginia.
All right, I'm surprised he didn't pick USC, but thanks, Sam and Kat. From the gridiron to the hardwood, Roger of the California Angels is here to talk hoops, and he's got all the latest on the best of the young NBA season.
Thanks, George. So far this NBA season, there have been several surprises in the league. I mean, did anyone expect the Sacramento Kings to have a better record than the Lakers, Rockets, and Thunder? And a few players have also stolen the spotlight this season. Arizona product Alonzo Trier could be the most productive Zoe this season. The New York guard is shooting 48.1% and nearly 46% from 3, while averaging 9.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in just 20 minutes per game. Not bad for a guy who went undrafted. Speaking of Zoes, Lonzo Ball's Lakers have had some surprises as well. Rajon Rondo surprised NBA Twitter when he turned the game against the Rockets into a heavyweight bout. JaVale McGee has also turned into the best center in the league, averaging 15.5 points and 7.5 rebounds per game. He even hit a 3 against the Phoenix Suns. The NBA season is full of twists and turns, so buckle in and get ready for another wild season. George, back to you.
Great stuff, Roger. That will do it for all of us here at Coast to Coast. For Alex Weiner, Nick Frias, Jacob Lev, Matt Stolboff, Nick Aguilera, and all the boys in the studio, I'm Vaughan Jones, and we'll see you next week.